So what are we on about today?
What we are on about is the new news that I have received, that on my Facebook page, that the police are actively pursuing another raid at Whānau Apanui on the east coast, so they're carrying on another raiding agenda.
Oh, okay.
And I just heard that a couple of days ago.
Maybe they've got a squad that needs some sort of employment. You'd think the police would have something better to do, but...
Well, they've got the armed defenders, of course, and the armed defenders were the ones who were used in the two Hoi raids.
Yeah, but you're still... maybe there's not enough firearms incidents to keep them occupied, and they're spending too much time sitting around drinking coffee and playing cards or something.
Well, the police have got new powers, of course, with terrorism laws, and these terrorism laws allow them to go onto properties and to raid homes and to pull families and children out of their homes and to upset communities under the guise of those terrorism laws. But they've got egg on their face now because the lawyers are pushing to pull the case from the courts from the first raids. Now the police apparently, and I'm not saying this is real, this is what I've been told on my Facebook page, that the police are planning raids now at Whānau Apanui on the east coast because of the protest actions over there.
See, that's the thing that I can't figure out is they're doing what I can see as relatively peaceful protests, right? But Greenpeace and the greenies and environmental whack jobs, they're actually being a little bit more violent by taking boats out and getting in the way of the boats that are out there to do with the exploration, and actually endangering not only their own lives but the people who are working in the oil exploration. So why aren't they doing more about that? Because so far I've only seen one item where one boatie was arrested for ignoring the police when he was told to get out of the way, and not because they apparently they'd created a line of boats. They'd all been told to move because it was a safety issue. And one boatie decided he wasn't going to, so he got arrested. But if the others are still out there harassing boats, it's like this whole anti-whaling stuff that happened a while back. You know, getting in the way of big boats and then moaning because they ploughed into you. Well, a big tanker, be it a whaling boat or an oil tanker, don't turn very fast.
No.
So if you keep zipping in front of them and putting yourself in danger, you can only expect to get squished.
The issues is with Greenpeace, the issues is with the protesting by the Whānau Apanui people against the oil rig. Now, the Greenpeace people are on New Zealand territorial waters. The police have every right to uphold the law of New Zealand territorial waters. Okay?
Especially if they misbehave and they don't take into consideration safety of themselves or others or anyone like that. Mm-hmm. But the other protesters, they're not, from what I've heard, they're not causing a safety issue in any way. They're just putting their opinions out there and objecting to something that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, they're objecting to, well, of course the Gulf oil spill is horrendous and it's still a problem. Even though the media gets tired of the story, it goes away, but the problem doesn't go away, it's still there. So that's another reason why people have got to get onto alternative media, especially online, and go to the Max Kaisers and the Alex Jones of this world. You might not agree with everything they say, but they're bringing issues up. Donald Trump bringing the issue up of the birth certificate, it's great stuff because it proves that the president isn't bulletproof. He can be questioned, he's human. He might have a big staff around him, but he's human. He can be put into the public domain. He's not that powerful that he can't be put in the public domain. So all these people bringing up these issues are really important, and it's all about democracy. And this is the problem when the police come in and go into communities, and they seem to be focusing in these times on Māori communities. Tūhoi was a case in fact because Tūhoi are trying to break away from the country separatism and running their own communities. So what do the police do? The police raid them. And this is historical. This has been going on with Tūhoi more than anyone else.
Oh yes, it goes way back. It goes a long way back.
I mean, even East Coast Māoridom, the politicians from Ngāti Karanunu, they were persecuting Tūhoi back in those days. They were helping annex Tuhoi from their tribal lands. And a lot of people don't know these things. A lot of people don't really know history. But another thing we've got to really focus on too, that's really being ignored at this stage. It might not be ignored for much longer, but what is really being ignored is that, you know, it's all divide and conquer. The government isn't being looked at. Everyone's zooming in on Greenpeace, everyone's zooming in on Māoridom, everyone's zooming on protesters, everyone's zooming on, but no one's zooming on the oil companies and the government.
Yeah.
The oil companies are being protected by the government, and the government just loves not having the spotlight on them.
Yeah, all these protesters and things are basically taking the spotlight away from things like the fact that the government are allowing the oil companies to basically take the resources without getting any benefit for the country from it, and things like this. Now people say, oh yeah, but they pay taxes, but well no, they pay taxes maybe, assuming they don't claim that they don't have to due to it being a foreign company, but any taxes they pay they write off against expenses anyway, so you might as well say they don't pay taxes, and therefore the government doesn't gain anything from it.
We've got to remember that this was also, I'm talking about Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico, but I'm talking about way back in the 90s sometime, when there was supposed to be a cartel coming in off Wairua, off the east coast there. And everyone was expecting work and employment, and there was all this money that was supposed to come into the economy over there, and it was looking like good times had returned. And that was when Derek Fox was the mayor of Wairua, and it didn't happen. The oil company just pulled the chain and walked away. Nothing happened, and Derek Fox was jumping up and down and saying, "What about all our jobs?" And the community was really hurt about that. Now you have to look at it differently because of the Gulf of Mexico, especially. Oil is a dangerous business. It is dangerous to the environment, it's dangerous to communities, and it's dangerous when oil companies can come in, take a natural resource from our country and not have to pay anything to the country. And that's terrorism, that's state terrorism.
And also put the country at risk from an environmental perspective for no gain. It's not good that you put a country at risk and make money, but to say, well, okay, well, if the place gets polluted, oh well, then too bad.
Well, it's the different. Look at Rodney Hyde. Rodney Hyde wants to start open cast mining and make a lot of money. He said it's the only way we're going to make money and have a future. So he wants to build big holes around the countryside, and okay, that's fair enough. But the government's going to get money out of that. But the soil situation, Brazil was not investing in the country. They've been given open slava to come into New Zealand territorial waters, drain oil, take it back to Brazil, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the government everyone's protesting against the company, against the Brazilian company. No one's looking at the betrayal of the New Zealand government.
Yeah.